Hi guys. As Judy said, oh sorry, let me share my screen. As Judy said, I'm Harmony and I'm a junior at Princeton High School. And today I'm going to be presenting on my Project Green Challenge experience and my climate action plan. But before I start, I just want to acknowledge the Lenni Lenape land that I am on today and the efforts of Indigenous climate activists around the world. Okay. When I entered middle school, I was your regular apathetic tween, obsessed with makeup and Louis Tomlinson, and not cognizant of any societal issues. However, in sixth grade, I was launched into environmental activism in the form of Save Davidson. This organization, which was co founded by myself and other members of our cul de sac, aimed to protect a neighborhood pond from transformation into a hotel. Through this, I learned how to be a change maker, that going by the rules is not going to create a difference. Talking to the mayor did nothing, but going to the streets and protesting to save the natural infrastructure around the low income, majority minority area of Davidson made a change. This example raises the question, how can we alter the current narrative to shift power to the people? According to Yale, 69% of Americans are worried about climate change, but the Washington Post found more than 75% of Americans know little or nothing about the Green New Deal. Climate change affects BIPOC and the low income and LGBTQ communities to a higher extent. So, why are they the groups most left out of these conversations on climate justice? Climate action, from my research, splits into 4 different facets shown here: self improvement, education, politics, community outreach and mutual aid, and systemic change and protest, all of which we have focused on during Project Green Challenge. Some tangible examples from the challenges are footprint for self improvement, school for education, vote for politics, community outreach and mutual aid, and mobilize for systemic change and protest. These examples and more taught me how to be a change maker, and that the solution to environmental destruction is multifaceted, which is why I chose my climate action project. Often, environmentalists are pressed to focus on self improvement through methods like veganism or lowering one's carbon footprint. And although these are important and I do practice these, there is so much more that we must do and learn about to truly mitigate the climate crisis. This month taught me about how we should utilize many creative forms of change and focus on each one of these 4 to create an ideal just transition into environmental and social equality, whether that be talking about the self care of climate activists, creating sustainable regenerative soil practices, or contacting our local and national politicians in support or opposition to legislation. Over the course of October and this weekend, my eyes were open to so many topics that are never covered in our classroom. Because of Marina, I can talk about air pollution in countries around the world. Because of Lisa, I can intersect activism with my future job. Because of Maddie, I can create pieces of art that represent the struggles we face as youth activists. Because of Al, I can grow a regenerative farm and correctly balance nitrogen and carbon in that growth. These and more show us the multifaceted, multi-generational solution to climate change. We as students have a unique opportunity and responsibility to diversify our narrative and create an intersectional climate movement. If you look around our Zoom screen today, you can see a diverse collective of individuals devoted to mitigating environmental racism and the climate crisis. Us youth are the change makers, the faces of this revolution, and that is where my climate action project comes in. As all of us here know, becoming a climate activist is not an easy task to take on. However, we can all become more aware in our lives of the climate crisis and how we can make gradual changes, and this solution manifests in my climate action project. I have personally experienced the apathy the majority of students have towards activism and environmental work, and I was them before my Save Davidson experience literally brought the climate crisis to my doorstep. To mitigate this problem and foster new political activists at younger ages, I am planning on creating an ecological fair spanning the day of March 15th, the anniversary of the global climate strike, that will involve more than 2,000 Princeton Public School students from elementary to high school, as well as community organizations, individuals, and businesses. One of the focuses of this event will be to amplify often marginalized voices in our community. Princeton is majority white upper middle class individuals, and minority voices are silenced. I am also going to survey students to see what they're interested in so we can create an event tailored towards their passions to truly create a result of this event. To mitigate costs, we will aim to get brand sponsorships and talk to parents and climate organizations locally. And in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19, the entirety of the event will be hosted outside, socially distanced with masks and gloves or hand sanitizer. I want to encourage every student at my school and beyond to take small steps to make the world a better place and start their journey in macro and micro ways to make a large difference in this world. If a pond and an out-of-touch mayor can make me launch into climate activist or climate action, imagine the possibility of impact if students connect a current passion, like fashion, plants, or singing, to climate change. We can all do this if we come together and begin to take action. This diagram shows the planned setup of booths for my eco fair. These sections take inspiration from many of the Project Green Challenge days from this influential, life-changing month, empowering people to utilize the four facets mentioned earlier and create gradual change in their life. Booths plan to range from tasting plant based versus typical food, trading clothes to give them new lives, and teaching students about alteration and sewing, creating visual performative climate art, and more. Additionally, students can enter their climate solutions into a contest, and the top four participants will go to the four public elementary schools to educate younger children about their learnings and how to be sustainable. Students may not want to involve themselves in environmental activism, but after seeing that the solution integrates items like thrifting, delicious foods, fun prizes, and more, there is no question that they will make at least some amount of change. Project Green Challenge has taught me that there is no one way to be an environmental activist. We can all make a change in our everyday lives, and everyone here has. Each person here today has made a commitment to sustainability, and no matter what happens, we are going to create a sustainable future. My Save Davidson and Project Green Challenge experiences demonstrated to me that everyone has a different role in a just transition, and I believe my project will utilize my learnings from this past month to show how youth can gradually change their practices to reflect the sustainability crucial in this day and age. I joined PGC because I knew we needed to diversify our narrative and approach to climate change. With my new knowledge and my climate action plan, I know that this will be the reality. And thank you so much to all of the Turning Green team and each one of the finalists and participants. We are going to be the modern change makers.